a phone list. Well, that's not what we were promised, and there's more because there's a letter from Pam Bondi, but I want to get my next guest in here, Steve Gray, retired FBI agent, because there's plenty to go through. Steve, thank you for taking the time here. Let me just say this. I want to read a little bit from Pam Bondi's letter that just dropped, here a little bit earlier today. Basically, she's saying that the FBI has stonewalled her, that what she asked for was not delivered, so she says this in the letter. This is to Kash Patel, by the way. And I believe they're friends, but here's the deal. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February the 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. And she also went further in the letter and said this: I'm directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I think Pam Bondi is a little pissed off, Steve, as am I, frankly. We were told this binder was coming out. You were told the same thing. What's your take?
Yeah, and I agree. And she has a right to be extremely upset, because not only does it make the Trump administration look bad, it also makes the Justice Department look bad. The problem is that New York handled this investigation, and an office I worked at for 23 years. I'm very familiar with the people within that office. I'm very familiar with the people that conducted the investigation in that office of the Epstein case, and also the search of all of the computer files. I can tell you this. At the time that was all going on, the chatter in the office, at the New York office, was at the highest it had ever been. Usually when there's a big case, there's a lot of chatter. This was the most chatter I'd ever heard of coming out of any case, which means that there's a lot of evidence out there, and that evidence needs to be brought forward. The problem is that the director of the FBI in New York is James Dennehy. And I talked about this last night on Grant's show, that there's a lot of Comey soldiers out there. These are individuals that are protecting James Comey. They're protecting their own selves. And unfortunately, James Dennehy, the assistant director of the New York office, is a Comey soldier. And he's going to protect Comey, he's going to protect Wray, and he's going to protect himself. My belief, and this is only my belief, I believe that they're trying to dump as much evidence as they can before they bring it forward to protect a lot of individuals.
Yeah, but here's my question. Was Pam Bondi caught flat-footed today? Did she know what was in these binders? I mean, there was a lot made of the binders being released. She said it on Jesse Waters' program last night. Here comes the binders. We wait for it. Several, conservative media faces and names were out there, including our own Jack Posobiec here from this network out there. But from what I understand from the New York Post, it's nothing more than a phone book. Well, the phone book doesn't tell you anything. That doesn't mean anybody. Just because you're in the phone book doesn't mean you went to the island. Doesn't mean you went to his estate in Florida. Doesn't mean you went to his estate in New York, right? It doesn't mean any of that. It means nothing, basically. It's an interesting data point for an FBI agent like yourself, or former agent like yourself. And it's an investigative tool, but that's all it is, right? This doesn't tell us anything.
No, it doesn't tell us anything at all. And Pam Bondi said last week that she had the Epstein list on her desk. She must have read it at some point between last week and this week. And last night on the news, she said she was going to release the file, which to me means she's going to release the entire file. But that didn't happen. And I don't know. And I said this last night, too. She's an experienced attorney general. She's an experienced attorney. For her to be making these statements and not have that full information in front of her and then make the statements to the American public, I think it makes her look bad. It makes the Trump administration look bad. And it makes, all of the people that are involved in this case bad. They need to release everything, and they need to release it now because they told us they would. Now, I would give them leeway if they were trying to, say, contact all of the victims. But she told us last night that all of the victims, per the law, federal law, that all of the victims in this case were contacted. So there's no reason why she can't release this entire file.
Right. Let me be clear about this, Steve. And I appreciate your experience in the FBI, and some of these people are no better than Christopher Wray, as you pointed out. But let me be clear about this. I do trust Kash Patel. I do trust Pam Bondi, and I think she put this. And look, I can't confirm the authenticity of this letter, although it's appeared in several places. So at the moment, I'm going to assume that it's accurate and real. But I will say this. These are two very serious people who have America's best interests in mind and in their hearts, and I believe they will get to this. And so this is a little dust up along the way. That's fine. But we want to know who the monsters are. Democrats, Republicans, I don't care who you are. If you're a monster that was at Jeffrey Epstein's island, you have no place in the political world. You probably have no place in polite society. Many of you should probably be in prison, if the truth be known. We're going to get to that part. Steve, I'll give you the last word.
Well, and I agree with you, 100%. That I trust Pam Bondi, I trust Kash Patel, I trust Bongino in handling this, but they're wading into a pool of individuals who are used to lying and covering up, and these people are extremely
and have a lot to lose. Don't forget that part, Steve. They have a lot to lose. They're in a corner. Go on.
Yeah, absolutely they do. And they need to get to the bottom of this. I think they will. I think that even if they have to start firing individuals, they will get to the bottom of this. They'll get all of the evidence out. But they need to get done sooner than later because they told us they would.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to hold them to it. Steve Gray, I appreciate you being here. I'm sure you'll be back.